morning. Today is Saturday, April 18th, and we will be reading Joshua 21 and 22.
All right. 21 and 22. You ready? Yes? Isabel? All right. So, wait a minute. You want to talk about Catherine? She's over there.
When you fell asleep at dinner.
She fell asleep during dinner.
At night.
And so now she's down for the night. Yeah. 21. Find your spot, Tanner.
Cities for the Levites. Family leaders of the Levites approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua, son of Nun, and the family leaders of the Israelite tribes. At Shiloh, in the land of Canaan, they said to them, "Through Moses, the Lord commanded that we be given cities in which to live, and grazing lands for their livestock. So according to the word of the Lord, out of their inheritance, the children of Israel gave the Levites these cities and their grazing lands. The lot came up for the clans of the Kohathites, so the Levites, who were descendants of Aaron, received an allotment of 13 cities from the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The remaining descendants of Kohath received an allotment of 10 cities from the clans of the tribes of Ephraim, Dan, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. The descendants of Gershon received an allotment of 13 cities from the clans of the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and the half-tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. The descendants of Merari by their clans received an allotment of 12 cities from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. The children of Israel allotted the Levites these cities and their grazing lands, as the Lord commanded through Moses. From the tribes of Judah and Simeon, they assigned the following cities with these names. They were assigned to the descendants of Aaron, to the clans of the Kohathites, of the tribes of Levites, for theirs was the first lot. They assigned them Kiriath Arba. Arba was the father of Anak, which is Hebron, in the hill country of Judah, and the grazing lands around it. Now they had assigned the city's fields and the surrounding villages to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his property. So the descendants of Aaron, the priest, they assigned Hebron, a refuge city for people who committed manslaughter, Libnah with its pastures, Jatir, Estemoth, Holon, Debir, Ain, Juttah, and Beth Shemesh, together with their grazing lands of each, 9 cities from these 2 tribes. From the tribe of Benjamin they assigned Gibeon, Geba, Anathoth, and Almon, together with the grazing lands of each, 4 cities. Altogether the descendants of Aaron received 13 cities and their grazing lands. The rest of the Levites from the clans of the descendants of Kohath received cities allotted from the tribe of Ephraim. They assigned them Shechem, a refuge city for people who committed manslaughter in the hill country of Ephraim, Gezer, Kibzaim, and Beth Horon, together with the grazing lands of each 4 cities. From the tribe of Dan, they assigned Elteketh, Gibbethon, Ajalon, and Gath Rimmon, together with the grazing lands of each 4 cities. From the tribe of Manasseh, they assigned Tanakh and Gath Rimmon, together with the grazing lands of each 2 cities. Altogether, the rest of the clans of the descendants of Kohath received 10 cities and their grazing lands. From the half-tribe of Manasseh, they assigned to the descendants of Gershon, one of the Levite clans, Golan and Bashan, a refuge city for people who committed manslaughter, and Eshtaroth, together with the grazing lands of each 2 cities. From the tribe of Issachar, they assigned Kishion, Dabereth, Jarmuth, and Enganim, together with the grazing lands of each 4 cities. From the tribe of Asher, they assigned Mishal, Abdon, Helkah, and Rehob, together with the grazing lands of each 4 cities. From the tribe of Naphtali, they assigned Kadesh in Galilee, a refuge city for people who commit manslaughter, Hamath, Dar, and Kartan, together with the grazing lands of each 3 cities. Altogether, the Gershonites, according to their clans, received 13 cities and their grazing lands. From the tribe of Zebulun, they assigned the descendants of Merari and the remaining Levites, Jokneam, Kartha, Dimnah, Nehalal, together with the grazing lands of each 4 cities. From the tribe of Reuben, they assigned Bezer, Jahaz, Kedemoth, and Mephath, together with the grazing lands of each 4 cities. From the tribes of Gad, they assigned Ramoth and Gilead, a refuge city for people who committed manslaughter, Menahem, Heshbon, and Jazer, together with the grazing lands of 4 cities in all. So 12 cities were allotted for the descendants of Merari according to their clans, the remaining Levite clans. Altogether, the Levites received 48 cities and their grazing lands, with the possession of the children of Israel. Each of these cities had grazing lands surrounding them. In this way, with all these cities, the Lord gave Israel all the land that he swore to give to their fathers. They took possession of it and lived in it. The Lord gave them rest all around, according to all he swore to their fathers. Not a man among their enemies stood before them, and the Lord delivered all their enemies into their hands. Not a single word of all the good things that the Lord had spoken to the children of Israel failed. They all came to pass. The eastern tribes returned home. Then Joshua summoned the Reubenites, the Gadites, the half-tribe of Manasseh. He said to them, "You have done everything that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, and have obeyed me in everything that I have commanded you. You have not left your brothers these many days down to this day, and you have observed the obligations of the commandments of the Lord your God. Now the Lord your God has given rest to your brothers, as he has said to them. So now turn and go to your homes, to the land of your possession, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you on the other side of the Jordan. Only carefully obey the commandments and the law that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, to obey his commandments, to cling to him, and to serve him with all your heart and heart and soul." Joshua blessed them and sent them off, and they went to their tents. Moses had assigned land in Bashan to half the tribe of Manasseh. To the other half, Joshua assigned land among their brothers on the west side of the Jordan. When Joshua sent them also to their homes and blessed them, he said, "Return home with great wealth, much livestock, silver, gold, copper, iron, and great quantities of clothing. Divide the spoil of your enemies among your brothers." So the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh left the children of Israel at Shiloh in the land of Canaan to go to the land of Gilead, the land of their possession, according to the word of the Lord through Moses. The tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh came near the Jordan in the land of Canaan and built a very large altar by the Jordan. The children of Israel heard someone say, "The tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have built an altar by the land of Canaan, by the Jordan on the Israelite side." When the children of Israel heard this, they assembled the whole congregation of the children of Israel at Shiloh to go up against them in war. Then the children of Israel sent Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, to the sons of Reuben, to the sons of Gad, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, into the land of Gilead, and with them 10 chiefs and 1 chief each for each father's household of every tribe of Israel, and each one of them was head of his father's house among the thousands of Israel. They came to the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh in the land of Gilead, and said to them, "The whole congregation of this Lord says, What is this trespass you have committed against the God of Israel? Today you have turned from following the Lord by building yourselves an altar to rebel against him. Is the sin impure from which we have still not purified ourselves even today? Not even enough for us, which brought a plague upon the congregation of the Lord? And today you have turned away from following the Lord? If today you are rebelling against the Lord, then tomorrow he will be angry with the whole congregation of Israel. If indeed your own land is unclean, then cross over to the land of the Lord, where the tabernacle of the Lord stands, and take land among us. Yet do not rebel against the Lord or rebel against us by building an altar other than the altar of the Lord our God. Did not Ashan, son of Zerah, commit a trespass in the things under the ban, and wrath fall on the congregation of Israel? And what man did not perish alone in his iniquity?" Then the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh answered and said to the heads of the Israelite clans, The Lord God of gods, he knows, and may Israel know, if we have acted in rebellion or disloyalty against the Lord, do not spare us today. If we have built an altar to turn away from following the Lord, to offer burnt offerings and grain offerings or make peace offerings upon it, may the Lord himself demand an account. We did this because we were worried that in the future your descendants might say, what have you to do with the Lord God of Israel? The Lord made the Jordan a boundary between us and you, the descendants of Reuben and Gad. You have no share in the Lord. In this way, your descendants might make our descendants to stop worshiping the Lord. So we said to each other, let us build this altar, not for burnt offerings or sacrifice, but as a witness for us, for you, and for the generations after us, that we may perform the service of the Lord before him with our burnt offerings, sacrifices, and peace offerings. And in the future, your descendants will not be able to say to our descendants, you have no share in the Lord. Therefore we say in the future, if they say this to us or to our descendants, we will say, look at the replica of the altar of the Lord that our fathers made, not for burnt offerings or sacrifices, but as a witness between you and us. God forbid that we would rebel against the Lord by turning from following the Lord today, by building an altar for burnt offerings, grain offerings, and sacrifices other than the altar of the Lord God that stands before his tabernacle. When Phinehas the priest and the leaders of the congregation and the heads of the Israelite clans who were with them heard what the descendants of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh said, it pleased them. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, said to the descendants of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, today we know that the Lord is in our midst, because you did not violate your obligations to the Lord in this matter. Indeed, you have delivered the children of Israel from the judgment of the Lord. Then Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the priest, and the leaders returned from meeting the descendants of Reuben and Gad in the land of Gilead to the children of Israel in the land of Canaan. They brought back a report. This report was good in the eyes of the children of Israel, and the children of Israel blessed God. They decided not to make war against the descendants of Reuben and Gad to ruin the land in which they lived. The descendants of Reuben and Gad named the altar Witness, for it is a witness between us and the Lord is God. That the Lord is God.
Alright.
21, 22.
Bye. Have a great day. Please subscribe. Hope you like this video.